Thanks for listening to 15 Minutes with Fuzz. I'm your host, Fuzz Martin, and each week I sit down and talk with people for about 15 minutes about fun and positive things going on here in Washington County, Wisconsin. On this week's episode, my wife Shanna, host of the Tech Tools for Teachers podcast, and I sit down to talk about a recent adventure we took to a Washington County Park's beer garden. This one was at Homestead Hollow in Germantown. We also chatted about a great dinner experience we had at Bibinger's restaurant. It was a really fun episode to make. We went a little bit over on time, not too much, and we really hope you enjoy it. How are you now?
Fantastic.
Oh, man. We had a great time at Homestead Hollow with your family.
We did.
And I have to say, too, a few things. One, we had a great time at Homestead Hollow. After Homestead Hollow, we went to Bibinger's restaurant in Slinger. And they have this new chef there. I think his name is Chef Nate.
I think so. I think that's what.
Yeah, I think it's Chef Nate. He's from San Diego, and the things they've done to the menu are fantastic.
Yes.
Like, we will be back very soon.
Yes.
And often.
Yes.
And the peanut butter old-fashioned that
was
I had.
Unbelievable. It was very unexpected. I will just point out, I was like, oh, I'll try your drink because it's a different flavor. And then when you have a sip, I was like, oh, wait, can I just drink yours?
I was going to have one old-fashioned. I did only have that old-fashioned.
This is true.
I got it. I took a little.
But everybody tried it.
Yeah, I took a little sip.
So you got
and
a quarter of it
I'm
gone.
like, oh, here, try this. And I gave it to Shanna, and then she gave it to her mom. And she took a swig, and then Wally took a swig, and then you took another swig, and then I got the glass back, and it was half full.
Yes.
Optimist.
Yes.
However, it was only
it,
half full and not full. So it was very good.
Yes.
And
so was the food. Like, the drinks were great. The food was great.
The pretzel crusted cheese curds
were excellent.
And the fish fry was really good.
Yes.
And the Brussels sprouts we had there
2 times ago.
Yeah, 2 times ago.
And
awesome.
Also the brie with the new jam that is seasonal is also fantastic.
Yes, exactly. Actually, so
and Grammy, my mother, was also stealing off of everybody else's plates too. She was like, this is good. Let me try this.
It was funny because she was very much in the, hey, we're coming out of a pandemic, let's say late stage pandemic. We're in late stage pandemic, and I need to care about what I eat now. And so she had like a salad or something.
No, she had fish, but she had the baked fish.
The baked fish.
Or broiled or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And she was like, I'm trying to be healthy. She's like, it was wonderful. But the French fries were also fantastic.
Yeah.
So she's like, so that totally took away from me getting the baked fish because also I ate all of the child's French fries. And I was like, Mom, it's okay. Just enjoy yourself. She's like, I am.
So 2 times ago, so not this time, but the time before that, and this isn't the episode about Bibinger's, but it kind of is right now at the moment. We went to a wedding at the Bowery in Rubicon.
Which is beautiful and has shiplap.
Shiplap! Hashtag shiplap.
Yes.
For
anybody who knows about Chip and Joanna Gaines.
Yes, we in this family have no shiplap in our house.
But we would love to put shiplap in our house.
We would love to have shiplap in our house. It wouldn't look right in our house. So anytime we see shiplap, we say, shiplap! And
we embrace it.
And the Bowery has shiplap galore.
Yes.
However,
it's a beautiful place for an event or a wedding.
We are either in our 40s or pushing our 40s.
I say, not yet. Thank you.
You're not.
No.
But you're pretty close.
No.
And so we were at a wedding with a bunch of 20 to early 30-year-olds.
Correct.
And then we needed to leave. You know how it goes. People listening, you know how it goes. We can't keep up.
So we stopped on our way home.
So we stopped on our way home at Bibinger's to get an
snack and an old fashioned.
To get a snack and an old fashioned.
Because that's what you need to do later on in life.
And it just like you get snacks after like midway through a wedding when they have pizza come out. It was like that, except for
we were on our way home because we knew we had to go sleep.
We had to get home and see our child
and a babysitter,
make sure that the child was good and that my sister, who doesn't live close to here, was able to get home on time.
So we were being responsible. But anywho.
That said, we stopped at Bibinger's. So this is like time, let's say 0 in the Bibinger's timeline.
Correct.
Went to Bibinger's. We're sitting at the bar enjoying, I think, what did we get for a appetizer?
The brie.
That's right, the brie.
With jam.
The brie with jam. And there's a guy next to me.
Fantastic.
Who was in like black scrubs, we'll say. It was black.
It was black chef's gear.
Black chef's gear.
Not screaming chef's gear until we figured out who he was.
He said to me, "Hey, do you like Brussels sprouts?" And I'm like, "Yeah, man, I like Brussels sprouts."
And I said, "No, I do not."
And I said, "I do." And he said, "Yeah, cool." And then he got up out of his chair, and then he came back
and sat back down and just kept on with his whatever
he was doing. I'm like, "Okay, cool." And then out came delicious roasted Brussels sprouts that were so good. And he said, "This is a new thing on the menu, or I'm experimenting with." We found out that Chef Nate was the guy and that he's from San Diego.
And he's the new chef there.
He's the new chef there, and he is gracing our community.
And for somebody like me who does not like Brussels sprouts, they were actually pretty good.
Yeah.
They weren't like the weird slimy, Brussels sprouts.
It turns out
they actually had flavor and were kind of crunchy.
With enough butter and
seasoning,
olive oil
and whatever else was on those things.
And chocolate. No, I'm just kidding. There was no chocolate.
And brie cheese with fresh jam.
Yes. With enough old fashions, you can get Shanna to eat Brussels sprouts. It was really good. So
we had to bring then my parents there after our adventure that we're really going to talk about, because we decided, we should book dinner reservations to make sure that everybody was eating food on our way home. Like plan ahead of time. Like we planned ahead of time so we didn't have to think about it that day on the way home. Like, exactly. The child is starving. What are we going to do?
Yeah, we made reservations probably
like a week in advance.
And we did it online. I did it through Google, and it worked. It was really good. And they followed up like 3 days before, which made me feel reassured that they were actually had our reservation and we weren't going to show up and they were like, "Oh, that's not in the system." They were texting me. It was really cool.
Yes.
And it all worked out well. And our waiter was fantastic with our 6-year-old. He was so good.
They became BFFs by the end.
They did. And he's going to follow her to the University of Hawaii to watch her career as a marine biologist.
Yeah.
It was really fun. Anyway.
So the highlight of Washington County.
The highlight of Washington County for this week. We went to a beer garden at Homestead Hollow Park.
Which was so cool.
It was very cool. And Homestead Hollow Park is part of the Washington County park system. It is in Germantown. It is essentially you get off at Highway 167 West, but you go east, and then you hop on down, take a couple roads, and you're there. Mm-hmm. It's about a mile and a half from the freeway. And while we were going there, your parents were like, "You know, it always amazes me how you know where you're going." And I was thinking, yeah, me too. You don't have a map up and you know where you're going. I'm like, yeah. Don't follow me. I'm lost too. But no, we got there just fine. It's actually super easy to get to. And I've been there a ton of times before because we have had epic guest meetings there, and guest meetings at Epic Creative means get Epic's, and I'm going to use finger quotes, stuff together. Mm-hmm. So get Epic stuff together. And we've had them, they have a barn there, and we've had them downstairs at the barn. We've done scavenger hunts. We've done yard games, things like that. Mm-hmm. Where
it's a beautiful park area.
They've got trails.
And I'm assuming you rent it like you would rent any park shelter or anything like that?
Exactly. So the lower part of the barn, it's a barn. That was a barn.
It's pretty.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And it was they didn't build the barn for the park. It was a barn that was there, and they built a park around it. They've got awesome playground facilities.
It was cool when we were at the beer garden part of it. There was so many families, and the kids all kind of just took to the playground together, which was cool. Like it wasn't. They
weren't so far away. Like they were close enough. We were sitting at a picnic table that was right next to the playground, but there were families all over the place. There are plenty of picnic tables all around the perimeter of the actual playground area.
Yeah, so like parents could sit and enjoy their drink, and the kids were playing on the playground, and you were like you could see your kid and all of the other kids, and it was very just kind of like relaxed, but nice that everybody kind of had something to do.
Exactly. They have real bathrooms, which are yes, they have real bathrooms. There were plenty of families that were there with their friends and families, so it was like groups of families together that were hanging out while the kids were playing on the playground.
And they had obviously like the beer tent that had different things, but also like I saw families brought picnics and stuff, so they could hang out with snacks and get their drinks, or it was like a kind of a picnic atmosphere where people could kind of set up and do their family thing, but also there was plenty of people to interact, but not too many where you felt like people were taking over.
Yeah, we were all spaced out really well. It was 1840 Brewing Company that was there. They're out of Milwaukee. Their beer and drinks were really good.
They were. I'm so sad. I had it
was pigs on a wing.
Pigs on a wing. And it was like a cucumber
lime
ginger
mint
seltzer.
It was a wonderful seltzer.
And because I loved it, and I had
I walked up and I said, hey, Shanna really likes this. Where can we find it? And they said, here.
That's it.
Because this is the last of it.
Yeah, so awesome. I found a cool new drink, and they've sold out for the summer.
You like that? You can't have it anymore.
Sorry you enjoyed it.
Your parents like normal beer. They like light beer.
Yes.
They're
Miller and Coors and Bud Light people.
Right. Cooking beer.
That's cooking beer.
Your dad had a dad's home. Actually, your dad and your mom both had a dad's home. Your dad also had a second beer, which was a sunflower dress, which was a copper blonde ale. The dad's home was a Kolsch. Actually, I'll take that back. Your dad's first beer was
the beer menu.
Your dad's first beer was the same as mine, which was a 4 years of slow beer triple IPA, which was fantastic, but it's 10.7 ABV.
Yeah, so we all slowed down and drank some water.
Yes, which would put you on your butt if you had more than one. Another beer that we had was a Retro Gradient, which is a double IPA, and that was 8.7 ABV. And we didn't try it. They had Electric Sunset, which was a fruited IPA. They had Summer Mike, which was I think it's a limeade sour is what they call it.
But they had a really good selection. There was quite a few choices, and they had water too. And
yeah, so they had two seltzers. They had 5 different beers. They had root beer. They had water. Again, 1840 Brewing Company, really good stuff. And while we were doing that, they had a band playing as well.
Yeah, which was cool, unexpected. Like it wasn't advertised like, oh, there's gonna be a band there too. It was just like, come to the beer garden, and we're kind of like, well, let's try it out and see what happens. And it was a cool experience.
I walked over and they were really, actually, here we can take a listen to what they sounded like. It was a really fun band. I asked them between songs, because they were asking the crowd questions, so I didn't just like shout out, hey, what's your name?
What's your name?
They were shouting to us, so I thought I'd shout back, and I asked them what the name of their band was, and they all looked at each other confused and said, Well, my name's so-and-so, and her name's so-and-so. They didn't have a band name.
So it's the no-name band name.
It is the no-name band name. Mm-hmm. I hope they form an actual formal band because they were very good together, and they seem to have a lot of chemistry. I think they've performed it together a lot.
Yeah, they must just do it for fun or enjoy being out. And
right.
It wasn't anything formal. I mean, it was formal in the fact that they got together, but it wasn't a formal band playing.
Exactly.
Exactly. Set themselves up and started playing, but it was great. It was great background music. It
was really cool. And I would watch them again, whoever they are, wherever, if you know who they were. And this actual event happened a couple of weeks ago. So if you happen to know who they were, I think it was on Friday the
13th.
The 13th. Yes, they played there Friday the 13th. Mm-hmm. So if you know the name of the jazz band that played in Homestead Hollow Park, or the name of some of the members, please let me know, because I'd like to watch them again in another venue. Or there again. We'll see. Mm-hmm. And speaking of that, there are 2 more beer gardens left for the season at Washington County. There's one more at Homestead Hollow on Friday, September 10th, and then one at Sandy Knoll Park in Washington County, which is in the... I think it's the Newburgh area. It's either Barton, Newburgh, something like that. That is at Sandy Knoll on Saturday, the 16th of October. So, and I'll put a link to the Washington County Beer Gardens in the show notes. But it was a really cool time. We had a lot of fun. Homestead Hollow's great. Mm-hmm. I thought we weren't going to have enough material to talk about with this whole event or this whole piece, just because we were having such a good time that I didn't put too much
what
into.
are we going to talk about? There's so many. It was just a good family entertainment that you didn't feel we're going to go take the toddlers out kind of thing.
Right.
But family, you can have a drink and the kids can play on the playground, and very relaxed and a fun atmosphere.
Yeah. If you have a family and you're like, I need to get out and do stuff and
see other adults.
And also keep
the kids occupied and enjoying themselves.
Yeah, this is the place. Mm-hmm. So do that. And I haven't even had a chance to talk about the dog park portion of it, which you learned that I went to
when you're talking to my parents.
That I've taken our little puppy whoopee to while you've been gone at school stuff. During the pandemic.
I didn't know. I knew that you had gone to Sandy Knoll. I didn't know that you had taken her to Homestead Hollow.
Yes, I did. And we wandered around, and we're pretty much alone. But also, it was a nice place. And maybe we could talk about all of the Washington County dog parks at another time. Because otherwise, we're going to go way over on 15 Minutes with Fuzz, and that is against the rules. Thank you for listening, and we will. I appreciate you coming on the show there.
Happy to share,
Mrs. Martin, and we will talk to you again soon.
Sounds good.
That'll do it for another edition of 15 Minutes with Fuzz. I hope you enjoyed listening as much as we enjoyed making this episode. If you like the show, please subscribe. Click the subscribe button in your favorite podcast app. If it's Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify. A lot of times they also have a little bell there to let you get notifications when new episodes come up. But they come out every Monday morning at midnight. I wake up at midnight and I push play. Next episode will be on the Wisconsin 9/11 Memorial in Kewaskum. Thanks again for listening to 15 Minutes with Fuzz.